freely Krishna prema. This is very rare. Krishna prema pradayate. He's giving it. So we have to immediately, the question should come, do we want it? What is that Krishna prema? And if we want it, how do I get it? It's not, the movement, it's a movement of loving devotional service, which means the servant, the service, and the served, the master and the servant are there. So it's not passive, it's active. We have to do something. Although it's not, there's no material activity involved. So Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, is all about pure devotional service. Srimad Bhagavatam has the statement, Savai Pung Samparo Dharmo, Yato Bhaktir Doksaje, Haitiki Apratihataya Yatma Suprasiditi. It says that Savai Pung Samparo Dharmo, again Dharma, that religion, or Dharma, is best, which brings one to the stage of pure, loving, devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. And that is characterized, ahaitiki apratiyata yayatma. In order to, yayatma suprasiditi means in order to completely satisfy the self, everyone wants to be satisfied, happy individual. It must be unmotivated and uninterrupted. So it's defining, Bhagavatam is defining what is this devotional service. It's selfless, just trying to please Krishna without any endeavors, any other motive to acquire knowledge or any fruit of activity. If I do this, I'll get this. So we see many modern religions, they're praying to God for this and that, and almost like treating him almost like Santa Claus. The Srimad Bhagavatam does away with this right from the beginning. The beautiful verse, the very second verse of the Bhagavatam. It's a long verse, I just want to read the translation. Dharma projita kaitavo tra Dharma projita kaitavo tra paramo matsaranam sacham vedyam vasavam atravastu shivanam tapatrayam mulanam. Recorded. Srimad Bhagavate Mahamunikrute Kimvaparar Ishvara Sadyo Vriddhi Avarujyate Tra Kritivi Sushushurish Takshanat. So there's just so much packed into this verse, I just want to read it to you. So completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavad Purana propounds the highest truth. So here we're talking about as you said, truth, the highest truth, which is understandable, as our qualification comes in, by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Very important point. So, reality means that which is not a relative truth, always changing. For instance, this body. We have a tendency to identify with this body, but this body is always changing. And yet I'm the same individual that my mother gave birth to. I had a 3-year-old body, 10-year-old body, 20-year-old. It's changing. So this is all relative. So, to identify with that which is changing, we can say, is illusory. Just like a dream is real, but very temporary, and we wake up and go about a different level of business in our life. So illusory. The mirage in the road on a hot day, right? In Texas, it's hot every day. You see shimmering places of shimmering heat, and there's water on the road. As soon as you get there, it's not there. Or mirage in the desert. It's water. I'm about to die, running after the water, and it's not there. So reality distinguished from illusion. Reality is the spiritual substance, the soul, and the soul is part and parcel of the Supreme Soul, God, Krishna. So everyone in the material world enters in this bodily concept of life. We pray, Om Ajnana Timirandasya. We're born in the darkness of ignorance. And so therefore we're approaching our spiritual master. Jnananjana Shalakaya. He's opening our eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. So in another place here in the Bhagavatam, let me finish just a little bit more on this translation. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. What are the threefold miseries? Anyone know? Marty, do you know?
Miseries coming from demigods, miseries from oneself,
Body or mind?
body or mind, and misery from others.
Yeah. Adhyatmaka from body or mind. Adhibodhika from others. Other envious persons or mosquitoes or poisonous snakes or whatever. And Adidaivaka, right? We didn't ask for it, but all of a sudden, from 80 degrees one day we heard in Denver, the next day it was 24 degrees.
Yeah.
So the demigods were like, whew. So, we're always being inflicted with different kinds of these miseries. Just to think about it. So, to be absorbed in the absolute truth, in spiritual existence, it says uproots the threefold miseries. And later, in the 7th chapter, first canto here, it says that the miseries, the threefold miseries, are superficial to the self. And through devotional service, one can also transcend these miseries. So, anyway, finish with that. Hare Krishna. So later on in this 2nd chapter, it says that rendering devotional service to the Supreme Lord very quickly produces two things, knowledge and detachment. So through devotional service in practice, we start to understand the nature of the soul and its being part and parcel of the Lord, and how we're disconnected, consciously disconnected in this world, and that is the source of all our suffering. We're caught up in this cycle of birth and death. We can't get out. Because Prabhupada said there's a causeless unwillingness to recognize or submit or surrender to Krishna, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We can't really explain it. We can say, okay, there's some envy, big material quality, right? Envy. We're actually, sometimes it's said, we're competing with Krishna. We want to be the central person, the enjoyer, the controller, everyone's friend. Be the master as long as you're my servant. But many people try, nobody does it, nobody makes it. And then we're finished, and we're on to another sector of our, another section of life, which is even unknown in this condition. So, when Lord Chaitanya's movement, and the perfection of religion, it's so nice Lord Chaitanya has given a very simple process, yogic process, bhakti yoga, through hearing and chanting. You say the Hari Nam Sankirtan. So there are three things. I mean, there's the holy name we're hearing and chanting. There are the instructions of Krishna. There's Krishna Nam, Krishna Katha, discussions about Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam, basically that, and Krishna Upadesh, Krishna's instructions coming from Bhagavad Gita. And so these things very easily, anyone or any family can sit down and have discussions. And by the grace of our acharyas, and especially Srila Prabhupada, he's put it elaborately into English and all languages, so we can do that. So, Bhagavatam says that this Krishna Katha, discussions about Krishna, is the Bhava Oshadi, the medicine. Bhava Oshadi. Bhava means the repetition of birth and death. So, it's the medicine for curing the repetition of birth and death. So, I can't give you any mechanistic process. But we should know that by hearing and chanting about Krishna, we're being purified. So the more the heart becomes purified, the more we uncover our godly qualities, our natural propensity to love and serve Krishna. Material life means we're averse, we're not interested. Like we said, we want someone to serve us. But as we develop an interest in hearing about Krishna, talking about Krishna, chanting about Krishna, and serving Krishna, engaging our senses, our mind, our intelligence, and our senses in Krishna's service, then it's described that Krishna will reveal himself to us in his name, in his quality and pastimes that we read about in the Bhagavatam, his form. We look at the deity. Some people come into a temple, look at the deity, and just walk out. No emotion, no feeling. But the pure devotee, Prabhupada said, he talks to the deity. The deity will speak to him. So Krishna is the supreme mystic. And he reveals himself to one who is his actual devotee. He tells Arjuna, that's the quality. You can understand this knowledge because you're my devotee, you're my friend and my devotee. So we're not purified devotees, but we can be on the path of pure devotion by following those who are pure devotees. This Rupa Goswami, we've been hearing from Rupa Goswami, and this we've been studying here, this Upadeshamrita. So Rupa Goswami said in the beginning, Adao Guru Vashrama. So in the beginning of spiritual life is to take shelter of the spiritual master, the bona fide teacher of Krishna consciousness, one who is situated in pure devotional service. And practice devotional service. So that's called sadhana bhakti, devotional service and practice. And as we practice, purification comes, and those spiritual qualities will come. Brahminical qualities first, cleanliness, austerity, truthfulness, knowledge of the scripture, faith in the teachings of the scripture and the sadhus. And then there's a multifold process from little faith, thinking, now I want to associate sadhu sangha with devotees and learn that. I like that. They seem happy. They have knowledge. Let me do that also. Sadhu sangha. And then practice the process of devotional service seriously. Chant Hare Krishna every day. Study Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Do some service. Take seriously. Start taking shelter of the bona fide spiritual master. And we're so fortunate that in Srila Prabhupada's books, so many books, we get the association of Krishna and Krishna's pure devotees, like in the Bhagavatam, And then all these, Prabhupada's giving commentary, so then we get the association of a very exalted, pure devotee. Prabhupada says, I will live forever in my books. So, we saw Prabhupada a few times. I mean, I did, only a few times, in big crowds. But we would hear from Prabhupada in his books every day, and then we developed the habit of hearing his lecture every day. So we said there's two kinds of association, Vani and Vapu, to hear the words, the sound vibration coming from the spiritual master, and then that's a mode of service, and then the service, Vapu, the physical service. Many got to serve him physically. Dayananda Prabhu was his personal servant for a little time. Secretary, right? Anyway, both. Wonderful opportunity. I mean, I never had that. So. But the more we go on with practicing, the more the words of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita and the spiritual master, they really affect the heart. And disciple means discipline. So we want to be disciplined by Guru and Krishna, because we know that's our purification. There's a nice statement in the 10th canto, also, maybe I'll read that to you. Lord Brahma is speaking to Krishna. He's offering some prayers, right? Everyone knows the story. He had stolen Krishna's cows and cowherd boys. He says, I want to see who this Krishna is. You know, who is this boy? He's controlling everybody in Vrindavan. And so he said, I'll play a trick on him. Anyway, he became embarrassed. Krishna did one up on him, tricked him, and manifested as cows and boys again, and went on with his enjoyment. Anyway, then so Lord Brahma, we're in the disciplic succession coming from Lord Brahma. So he's the Adi Guru in our Sampradaya. So Lord Brahma says, Jnane prayasam udapasya namanta eva, jivanti sanmukaritam bhavadi avartam, stane stita shrutikatam tanavan manobir, yak prayaso jita jito pyasitais trilokyam. Let me read this because it's another one, very explicit. He says, those who, even while remaining in their established social positions, right? Don't go take sannyas. Stay where you are. Take care of your family. Do your job. So we don't have to change our position. But we throw away the process of speculative knowledge, mental speculation about what is the truth. A lot of people do that, right? You've had that experience. People say, oh yeah, I think the truth is... Anyway, this impersonal understanding of the absolute, and all sorts of speculation. People think they are one with the absolute, they are God. But we give up speculative knowledge, and with the body, mind, and words offer all respects to, listen to this, respects to descriptions of your, Krishna's personality and activities, and dedicating our life to these narrations. It's like we're dedicating our lives just to hearing and chanting about Krishna, because we're convinced this is. But here's a special benediction here. Dedicating our lives to these narrations, which are vibrated by you personally, O Lord, and by your pure devotees. So hearing either from Krishna or his pure devotees. Bhagavatam is full of pure devotees speaking. Srila Prabhupada is speaking on every page. And so those who do that certainly conquer your lordship. Although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within the three worlds. Right? Ajita. That's the verse. Jita, Ajita, Jito, Pyasitais Trilokyam. So, how does the devotee, how are we supposed to, what does that mean? Conquer the world. So, conquer means, and this is the process of devotional service, this is perfection of religion, that we learn the process of conquering or attracting the mercy of the Lord into our life. That there's purification, and then when we develop the quality or the qualification, when the heart becomes pure, Prabhupada says when the heart becomes pure, then Krishna will come and sit in the heart. So when the heart becomes sufficiently pure, or when the Lord can do anything, when He is attracted to our devotion, even as struggling as devotees, very impure, but we're determined, we want to hear from Krishna, we want to hear about Krishna from His pure devotees. He can bestow pure love upon us at any moment. We read, and the other thing, very wonderful thing, is to read about the life and activities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and how he would he would bestow Krishna prema upon his devotees, and even very unqualified persons, Jagai Madhai. They were attacking his devotees, Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, but because Lord Chaitanya sent them out to preach and asked everyone to chant, Hari Bol, chant the names of Krishna. And these were drunkards. They were actually born in the Brahmin family, but they became so degraded, and they were just rogues and thieves, and every sinful activity and crime they had performed. So when they were finally requested by Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur, they just became enraged and started chasing them. And Nityananda and Haridas ran away, and then they came back later and tried again. And so this, was it Jagai or Madhai? One of them picked up a clay pot and threw it at Nityananda Prabhu, hit him in the head, and it drew blood. And he was like, he just stood there and just like, please chant. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was omniscient, so immediately he appeared on the spot. And he pulled out, Lord Chaitanya doesn't show his weapons, any weapons, his disc or his club or anything, but immediately, this was a very unique happening. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pulled out, manifested his discus in his finger, and he was just about to kill Madhai, one of them who threw the pot. You have attacked Nityananda. He is the life of my life, And then Nityananda went, oh my Lord, no, stop. You can't kill this person. Your mission in this world is to deliver all the sinful souls, give them love of God. If you kill this person, you have to kill everybody in Kali Yuga. Everybody is sinful. And he was like, and Lord Chaitanya, came down a little bit. And then both Jagai and Madhai just fell down and, please forgive us, please. And at Lord Chaitanya's feet, he said, I can't forgive you, and I won't forgive you, only if you get forgiveness from he who you have injured, Nityananda. And he said, Nityananda, it's up to you whether you want to. Nityananda immediately parted them and said, I forgive you. Then Lord Chaitanya said, all right, Lord Nityananda is forgiving you, but if you promise never to do these sinful activities again and always chant the holy name of Krishna, I will give you my blessings. So anyway, they became great Vaishnavas, and everybody was so amazed, just so amazed at Lord Chaitanya's mercy. And they just served the Vaishnavas. That was their service. They served the Vaishnavas, built a bathing ghat on the Ganga, and so many things. So we have the opportunity, back to something I said earlier, if we hear about the great mercy, the great opportunity we have of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, I know as soon as when I finally heard about Lord Chaitanya early when I was kind of connecting with devotees, that really affected me, really attracted me, that a full-fledged incarnation of the Lord appeared just 500 years ago. You know, you hear like an opportunity, new business starting up. I was thinking, oh, I want to take part in this. You know, and his pure devotee was traveling around the world and taking disciples and opening centers and printing books. But then I heard more and more about Lord Chaitanya. It was just like, okay, this is wonderful. This is special. So if we understand the opportunity, you know, if you want something, right, you'll do anything to get it, right? Sometimes people go into debt to start up a business. You know, risk a lot. Or is it no risk, no gain? So, but Lord Chaitanya is making it very simple that along with other things, we're students or we're family men, maintaining family, working. If we really want it, we fit it in. We fit in a little time for hearing and chanting. And as we go, we get realization. If we just study, first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada said, I put everything into the first canto. And chant Hare Krishna sincerely, and sadhusanga, associate with devotees. That was, these are major angas or arms of bhakti. Association with devotees, chanting the holy name, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, worshipping the deity, and living in a holy place. Prabhupada said our temples are holy places. So you're visiting regularly, getting association and hearing the kirtan and probably hearing Bhagavatam. Do you have Bhagavatam in your home?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Satya Sanatan is the term I was going to. I think that's Satya Sanatan.
Or Sanatan Dharma?
Yeah. Satya means
Satya. Yeah.
Absolute truth. As Prabhu said.
Yeah.
So that's the term that we use today.
And Sanatan Dharma means what?
Satya Sanatan.
Yeah.
Sanatan is a practice, and
Sanatan means eternal.
Eternal, right? Eternal, absolute.
What's our eternal occupation?
Eternal occupation.
For everyone, for the soul. You must have heard that as we were reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Any guess? Any educated guess?
Service. God's honor, God's service.
Yeah. Lord Chaitanya, his teaching is Jivera. Jiva's the soul, right?
Yeah.
Right? Do you know that? Jiva's the soul. Jivera Swarupahoy, the nature, the Swarup of the Jiva is Krishnera Nityadas, the eternal das or servant of Krishna. So that's the real identity. You know, we all like to cultivate our personality, our identity, and we're all going on with some kind of ego. Mostly it's false ego, bodily concept of life. So, but if we want to really get purified and experience this perfection of religion, then we have to just start meditating, thinking how I can become a servant of Krishna in my life. Hearing, chanting, then there's remembering, right? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam means remembering. And then we're, actually everything, there are 9 aspects of devotional service, Prabhupada said. Even one we can become perfected by. But we were taught all of them. Right? Chanting, remembering, praying, worshiping, serving, becoming the friend of the Lord. He's our friend, so let's be his friend. And some people have become so purified they just want to surrender their whole life. So, that's the pure devotee. Prabhupada gave his whole life. He actually gave his life. People say, Jesus died for you. Today's Christmas, right? So Jesus died for us. So Prabhupada, he lived and died for us. He gave it, he had nothing. He left his family due to circumstance and realized, okay, this is what Krishna wants me to do, give my life. And one of his godbrothers say, you should take sannyas and be a full-fledged preacher. And he, in his dream, his Guru Maharaj Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was telling him, come with me, and indicating, take sannyas and follow me, like that, full-fledged preacher. And he was like, oh, Prabhupada had been a householder, taking care of himself, lived comfortably with family, and he was scared by this dream. He thought, oh, this is horrible, I have to leave everything and become a sannyasi. But his godbrother convinced him, he took sannyas, and then he started writing books. And he got full realization, this is my mission. He was printing his Back to Godhead magazine, he couldn't pay for it. The printer said, Swamiji, why are you doing this? You have no money. He said, this is my mission, I have to do it. So Krishna started personally directing him, his Guru and Krishna.
Yeah, for him to come back in
Right.
1965
Yeah.
and come at age 70.
Yeah, you know the story?
Yeah.
Right? You know the story?
Yeah.
Prabhupada coming on the ship?
Yes.
Yes.
And Prabhupada came on the ship
Yeah.
in 1965 from India. He had 2 heart attacks. Yeah. He was carrying on, he had nothing. A couple trunks of books, this Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. Got off the boat and he said, one more heart attack, I know I would not have made it. So he had lived with nothing for several years, just writing, but he was trying to execute the order of his spiritual master. He had books, all right, now I have to go to the West and really execute the order. He got a ticket on the boat, went on the boat, and struggled in New York for quite some time. Cold.
Right.
Talk about living in Denver, but Prabhupada came from Vrindavan to New York City.
Yeah.
Sometimes he had no food and he was just, amazing story. Anyway, and then he just continued. So he started seriously continuing the translation of Bhagavatam. He did the Bhagavad Gita. A few disciples came, started some temples, traveling pretty soon around the world. And he would just non-stop every night when the devotees were sleeping, he'd be just speaking translation into dictaphone. And then the devotees would transcribe it and do the books. And he would travel all over the world, right? We travel, do a big flight, and it's jet lag for like several days. Prabhupada would land and just reset his clock after not sleeping sometimes. And it'd be a morning program. He'd give class and preach all day, and in that way he gave his life. He could have, if he had just been taking care of his health, and he could have lived long life. So Acharya means he's teaching by example. So his example was, just giving Krishna consciousness in a big way. Reality distinguished from the illusion for the welfare of all. So that was his determination to give the Srimad Bhagavatam to us, to the whole world. He did it in English, and then it was translated back into all the Indian languages, and 60 languages around the world. And people responded because they started to understand what is the perfection of religion. Coming from India, there's it can be confusing. So Krishna means all attractive. So when we actually get Krishna, Prabhupada said when people started to hear Bhagavad Gita as it is, and Srimad Bhagavatam the same way, they became attracted all over the world. Otherwise, right, our generation so many qualified devotees came to Prabhupada. You think, well, they should have been on the fast track in university, getting their degree and making $1 million, but somehow or other, they dropped everything and came and just became Prabhupada's disciple.
Yeah.
They dropped that educational opportunity, big opportunities. Sometimes had to walk away from family, but they said, this is it, I have to do it. This is a pure devotee of the Lord, and look what he's giving, and there was so much engagement, we had so much to do. So, then a little taste of the sweetness of Krishna. So, as we're reading in Upadeshamrita, if we're enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, and patient is the first three things. We can get it. So I'll stop there if there's some discussion, questions.
I like the point you made, understanding this opportunity, It's like sometimes we have it reversed the other way around, where we think that Krishna's getting the opportunity, or, the project's getting the opportunity, or, this sort of impersonalism. But I like those words that you put together, understanding this opportunity to serve and be a part of the mission.
Not what I can get from Krishna.
Yeah.
Let me see, what can I get out of this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good point. You were saying that when you learned about the appearance of Chaitanya just 500 years ago, then you thought, oh, I'm going to get into this. And then Prabhupada is traveling everywhere and making disciples. It's kind of like, oh, I'm going to buy this stock.
Yeah.
Looks like it's going to go.
Not knowing fully well, but I didn't approach it like I was going to get something, but I knew that, I was just really coming out of the fog, but I knew there was spiritual perfection. I knew, we heard Krishna Prema Pradayate, he's giving love for Krishna. And I was fortunate. Krishna had taken everything out of my life. I didn't have any opportunities hanging, so it was just like, okay.
I like that you quoted Kaitava Dharma. How does it start? What's the first word?
Dharma Projita Kaitavo.
Dharma Projita Kaitava. So, that's it. I think it's a really important verse. I mean, you covered it obviously, but you're talking about religion, and that's a really important theme right in the beginning of the Bhagavatam. Because in the Gita, there's mention of dharma throughout, and so just if it's not clear, then as if it were not clear, it is clear. Krishna gives clarity in his Gita, but in the Bhagavatam, right from the beginning, it says no. Dharma Kaitava. We're not going to discuss Dharma Kaitava.
Kicks it out.
Yeah, which means that it's a self-interest kind of asking God for things. Prabhupada was very strong about that also. That Prahlad Maharaj teaches about that Vanik, is it, what's the word he uses? Yeah. I forget.
Vanik?
Yeah.
Merchant.
Vanik means merchant.
Merchant.
What's the word? The verse is, anyway, I don't know. But yeah, in other words, to sort of make a deal with God that.
Yeah.
I love that joke where somebody's out in the ocean and they're drowning and they say, "Oh God, please save me," and then they're almost drowning and someone saves. He says, "I'll dedicate my life to you." And someone's drowning, and he's drowning, and then someone comes and saves him. So then he basically, I'm not very good at the punchline, but basically he forgets that he was praying to God and that he was going to give his life to God. He got saved by the lifeguard, so he thinks, oh, I'm so grateful to the lifeguard. But ignoring the idea that if he were saved, he would serve God. So this kind of exchange, kaita vitam, it's such a lofty position to think that we could achieve this pure devotion. I mean, it's just incredible.
It is funny.
And isn't it?
The word is funny. 7:10:4. It says merchant. It's funny.
Yeah, I knew it was Vanik, but I thought it was some other form of Vanik.
It says Vanik, a merchant who wants to get material profit from his business.
No, but the verse, what was it saying?
It's the verse.
Yeah, the verse says, Nanyata te kila guru, gateta karun atmana, yasta asishta asaste, nasabritya savai Vanik.
Vanik. Yeah,
And
Prahlad says, I don't want that kind of relationship with God, merchant. Kaita vitam.
It is an age. I mean, we should, be writing about this. It's an age where people are getting disappointed with religion because they see that it's materialistic. It's they're praying to God for this and for that, and right. I mean, a lot of us walked away from our Christian associations because.
It's so I don't like this prosperity theology. Oof.
Right.
I'm really turned. I'm sure there's.
But they're institutionalized.
Institutionalized.
In this world, we see two of the largest faiths in the world. They're extremely institutionalized.
Well, institutionalized, okay, but if it's, if they're sort of institutionalized or they're authorizing this mentality of God, then there's always going to be sort of the common aspect. People go to the church, they pray, they want something. That's sort of common, but if there's a section within...
They did it first through the expansion of colonization, and then they utilized that, whatever people are left, institutionalized.
The expansion of colonization?
Through that, as a weaponry, as a tool.
Well, modern colonization, there's much to be cried. But then, of course, you know about Indian colonization, right? Southeast Asia. Otherwise, how did Southeast Asia become Vaishnava and Shaiva?
They did it with the stroke of pen.
So there was
Buddha went to with the stroke of pen.
Yeah.
They didn't do it through accept our way.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
Yeah.
Of course. Different perspectives, of course. No, I agree that colonization has been problematic.
And we're just seeing there's so few people that can recognize what is like perfection of religion, what is pure religion, and it's like we're out there just traveling, distributing books, and meeting people.
So that's why we don't say religion; we say Satyasnata, eternal truth. Right?
Mm-hmm. And if we think about it, hear about Lord Chaitanya's movement. It's a movement. It's not it's not just like, temple going, but Lord Chaitanya is out in the streets chanting and dancing. So he's going right into people's faces and showing the process, the Bhakti Yoga process, Harinam Sankirtan. And so they hear it and they see the devotees dancing in ecstasy. It's like, better than what they see in the dance clubs and everything. The purity of the devotees. Prabhupada would comment. The devotees, when they're dressed with dhoti and tilak and kantimala, and they're chanting, they just look like, what did he say? Something from heavenly planets.
Yeah.
From Vaikuntha.
Vaikuntha.
So, and a lot of people, I remember a lot of people would come just by seeing us out chanting, dancing. So,
That's a pure energy of love.
So nobody's asking for Krishna consciousness. You have to go out and kind of force it on them almost. But show it, You said cultural conquest we have to show by singing, dancing, drama. Prabhupada loved to have dramas go on. Vegetarian restaurants distributing prasadam. So they get a higher taste. We're not out there with the Bible or the sword,
Yes.
Everybody has their free will.
Cultural conquest.
So somehow or other, this is a big discussion that devotees are going through, how to make Krishna consciousness attractive or visible to the public is our challenge.
I think that word visible is very important. Because it's attractive in itself. It's already attractive because of the purity, and if we execute it properly, then it's attractive, but it needs to be visible. And that's kind of been my realization of the day, is that the rarity of how close we are to Lord Chaitanya, how close we are to Prabhupada. We were speaking earlier that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that when the disciplic succession is broken, that's when I come again. And that's going to happen, more so than not, because it's just man just touching things and seeing things in different ways and things like that. But the fact that we are so close, we should really take the opportunity to give it to others and for us to absorb it.
Look what one person did, Prabhupada coming, all over the world, very gifted and intelligent, talented people just took his movement and helped him and really sacrificed their time and energy. And it was established, and the books were established. So we want to see it no more. Anything else? Okay, thank you for your attention and participation.